Hey everyone, topic number 2 with Matt, expert on Tuesday mornings. We're going to talk about what happens if out of nowhere there's a 20% price drop. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, doing great, Mike. Doing great. I hope that's not the case, but
Yeah, so let's just pretend, it's January, we're recording this. Let's just say for whatever reason, stuff happens and by April, nothing is selling and prices get whacked 20%. What do you think happens in your market?
um, big boys buy more, mom and pop sell off.
Oh, tell me more about that. What do you mean by that?
So I think the big guys that that have millions and millions or tens of millions of dollars sitting there, I think probably say, you know what, 20% is good enough. I can buy 6 or 7 units. I can get them going and normalized and get them on rent roll. They don't have to consider so much if they get a tenant in there that tenant then stops paying rent because of some eviction moratorium maybe still being in place.
Mhm.
They're playing the long game, so they can take a year's worth of losses on a duplex that's generating, $4,000 a month that might be a $3,000 a month payment or $2,500 a month payment.
Yeah.
They'll just take that medicine. They'll put it as a loss on the property, and quite frankly, work their profits over the next X number of years to pay off that loss. And those guys are the ones that they don't have to buy necessarily at the bottom. They can buy on the way down
Yeah.
because they can also hold and make those payments as through that process. And so anytime you see a market correction like what we're potentially talking about, in that 20% range, that's what happens is it flushes out the people that depend on that income to make that more monthly mortgage, because they no longer can make that monthly mortgage. And unless they're a Fannie Freddie, backed mortgage, they're not going to get forbearance. They might be through a small bank or a local bank, and then they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I think the other thing that happens, again, I saw this last time, is the investors. Yeah, I think the opportunists like you and I, we buy more. I mean, that's
Yep.
we're
Sure.
not buying now because we want to buy more later, right?
Correct.
And I think some mom and pops, buying the small stuff that we're talking about here do sell. But I actually think a 20% price drop actually hurts owner occupants the most, because what will happen there is there will be people with skinny deals. They put 3.5% down and now they're underwater. And
Yep.
that's what really caused last crisis to cascade,
Sure.
right? It's the
Yep.
person that saw their neighbor, sell their house underwater, got a short sale and walked away.
Sure.
And it became a thing, right? The strategic default. So my fear is if we suddenly get to a 20% price drop, the owner occupants start to call quits and they're like, I'm out, just like last time. And then
Yeah, I
we
think
have,
yeah, I
yeah,
think if you look at so I was looking at the list last night, and of the top 10 cities that are actually experiencing foreclosures right now, top 10 markets in the country, 7 of them are in California.
oh, lovely.
But what's really funny? You know who made the list, like literally right at the top, almost at the top of the list right away? Stockton.
Oh,
Just like last time. Remember
just like
last time?
I
All the
do.
zombie homes in Stockton?
I do. Yeah.
Unbelievable. 200,000 to 600,000 to streets of entire foreclosure houses.
Yeah.
And those, that they're already on the list, but the volume isn't that large. One of the things that I looked at, to your point, which was, you look at that drop in 20% and then what that then cascades from an inventory perspective, or from a foreclosure perspective. In 8, 9, and 10, we were above 2 million foreclosures a year.
Yep.
Right now, auction.com is forecasting that we'll be between 2.5 and 3.5, but that's in 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So they're looking and they're talking about the amount of foreclosures being only as many as we dealt with in any of those three peak years, 8, 9, or 10.
Wow.
Let's do that math real quick.
Yeah.
That says to me, okay, 500,000, 700,000, to your point in some of your earlier videos, that means we finally have inventory.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's going to be very, well, unlike last time where it seemed a big wave came across much of the US. Some markets didn't feel it. I think it will be very city specific,
It
right?
very much so.
Right. Unlike last time, like let's just pick on Stockton because it was brought up earlier, right? Once Stockton goes bad, it'll go really bad,
Hard, fast.
hard, right? But
Yeah.
then Boise, Idaho, which is one of the hottest markets out there, doesn't even feel it, just keeps screaming higher because of no inventory, right?
Yep, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's what happens with a price drop. And the other thing I think happens with a price drop is owner occupants, just like last time, get scared and their buying stops, right? Because they don't catch a falling knife. It's going
Right.
down all the time. And what that does for you and I is it just gives us more opportunity, more creativity, maybe the ability to use subject to on some cheap debt. And, again, the biggest thing I remember from 2010 is everybody disappeared. There were
Right.
no buyers.
Exactly. Yeah, I know you went from having, I remember it was, oh yeah, we got 7 offers, right? And that was in 07-ish, a little bit of 08, but not much of it, mostly 07. And then to your point, in 9, 10, 11, it was, am I the only one here?
It was like a
And
ghost town. It was crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was
So
great from that perspective because it wasn't like, that was definitely seller's market. And then it turned into buyer's market. And it was nice because you said, listen, I've got the option of, and for us, we had the option of 5 different properties that we could make that investment in. And if you have the opportunity to make that investment in 5 different properties, as opposed to being stuck with only, I'm locked in on this one because I've done all the work. I know this one's a fit, and then watching get run up.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a much more enjoyable market for us, just knowing, but the only downside is knowing that there's definitely economic pain.
Yeah, the big deal about a 20% price drop is it would come is people don't realize how that's going to cascade. Again, we're not
Agreed.
calling for it, but hey, enough YouTube videos are out there talking about it. And, I guess it is a possibility. So this is a great topic. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think we covered it all, which is, that 20% drop. We know where that's going to, who that's going to affect the most. And, that's like catching a falling knife and the cascading of dominoes, right? It can become very challenging to manage a business, but also have people get into that market. And the other thing that we should talk about, probably in the next piece is, what does that mean for qualification of buyers?
Yeah, great call.
You know?
All right, buddy. Thanks for topic number 2.
Sure. Happy to, Mike.